You can reset and refocus with your money and budget your next 3 months in advance. I will show you exactly how. If you've already had a budget fail and feel completely off track, this is for you. This is exactly how I reset my money every 90 days. It is way easier than you think when you do a quarterly review. I'm going to share with you my real 2026 Q2 Financial Plus Life quarterly review. Why, hello, my yellow groupers. I'm Carly, a finance grad and the creator of Best Money Class Ever, where I teach how to pay off debt in 36 months or less, invest to retire a millionaire, and stress less about money. Grab a seat. I'm about to spill the financial tea. Are you ready for it? Annual goals and monthly budgets are super popular. Quarterly review is the hidden gem. I've shared with you exactly how I plan my year in advance. As we all know, life happens and things rarely go exactly as you plan. Quarterly review is a personal finance check-in you do every 3 months to see where your money went, plan ahead, check your progress towards your goals, update your net worth. Spoiler, it went down. I'll share how I'm reacting and what I'm doing with that, and map out any upcoming purchases for the next 3 months. This is for you if you always set goals but forget about them, or if you set goals but everything felt totally overwhelming with the holidays and the new year hype. This will give you a focused seasonal reset. You can course correct before the year slips away, make your big goals feel a lot more manageable, and most importantly, it's a fresh start. And if the idea of a budget is overwhelming and intimidating, I want you to think about how to create your best year yet. What do you want the next 3 months to look like? What do you want to spend guilt-free on for projects, travels, trips, fun, concerts, events? I will show you my real 2026 Q2 Financial Plus Life quarterly review. You can complete your quarterly review with pen and paper. I'll be using my financial day planner, which is linked in the description below. Let's get started. To budget your next 3 months, the easiest thing is to become chief financial officer and manage your money like a boss. And I like to do the quarterly reviews. The easiest way to do this is just to simply look at a calendar and what is going on in your life that will cost money. We have my year at a glance. This is what I wanted to do with appointments and dates and birthdays and deadlines. For Q1, we'll look at what I wanted to do and what actually happened, and then we're going to plan ahead and get clear on the next 3 months. In Q1, there wasn't anything huge for me, just a lot of friends' birthdays. I wanted to remember to shoot them a text and celebrate if they're in town. Q2, I have a lot more in the mix. I do have a lot of friends and family's birthdays. It is Easter, of course. I have a friend's wedding out of town. I want to have a Cinco de Mayo party. Memorial Day, usually I like to do like a float trip and some fun things. Seeing important dates for budgeting and planning is super helpful. Once I take a quick look at the big picture dates, I like to look at my medical stuff for the year. So here it just has a health insurance summary plan with my premium, deductible, out-of-pocket max, if I need a referral or not. This is a new insurance plan. So for Q1, one of my biggest things is I did want to find a primary care physician and establish care and get familiar where the urgent care and emergency rooms are. I did have a dermatology appointment in 2025, and then I knew I was going to have one Q1 of 2026. For my regular care, I also have an annual, and then I wanted to do therapy every week, but your girl is taking a pause for the therapy. I just felt like I'm doing too much self-help, so I'm taking, I think, this quarter off of therapy. One of the big priorities I have for this year was figuring out, I have this watery eye situation. I didn't exactly know how much it would cost, but I guess I'd go about 4 times for an $85 copay. I will give you an update on that when we look at the actual numbers of how much that did end up costing. I also found out last year that I have allergies with pretty much everything. These are my prescriptions and supplements. So I did have the dermatology procedure, and that was Q1. The estimate was $350. I'll give you an update on those numbers. This is my maintenance schedule. I don't have any maintenance because I now live in an apartment. I moved from an RV to an apartment. My car maintenance. So a few things that I had anticipated was I do need to get a toll tag. I did not get that because my license plate was stolen, so I had to get a new license plate. I also anticipating getting an oil change in March. I also did not get around to doing that, so I'm gonna have to do that Q2. This is the projects that I want to do. So the first project was an apartment setup. Like I said, I moved full-time from an RV, living there 6 years. These are a few of the things that I had wanted to get, and so far with Q1, I ended up getting sheets for my allergies. I still need to get a comforter. I ended up getting the hookup with a vacuum. My family accidentally lost their little robo vacuum and ordered a new one, and then they found that one, so now I have the vacuum. The big project that I wanted to do is an e-file organization. I want to organize my iPhone photos and emails and OneDrive, everything's kind of a mess and I definitely want to do more YouTube videos, so I got to get a system for that. The next project is I wanted to decorate a home office. So for Q2, I want to get a monitor, a mouse pad, keyboard, and mouse, and that will be actually a business setup. One of the goals for the year also was holiday decoration. End up getting a Valentine's Day wreath. I did not get an Easter wreath, so this quarter I do want to get a spring wreath. I'm going to get most of this stuff like Dollar Tree. And then this is my celebration plan. So for New Year's, I did end up celebrating. I had a Galentine's Day. I did my classic massage and steak dinner. For Q2, we have an adult Easter egg hunt, which I budgeted $75 for. I have a Mother's Day tradition to do chips, salsa, margaritas. For Q2, I do want to float the river. Do want to do something fun for Father's Day. My goal was to have an Easter egg decoration party. For the year, I do want to do a South America trip, land in the spring. I also want to do a Pittsburgh trip, which I have started putting in motion. I do need to still get the flight though. And again, if you hate budgets, it's a lot easier just to kind of think of like what you want to do in your life. These are the road trips that I was planning on. So I did end up going home for Easter. I also have a wedding, and that is coming up in Q2. Budgeted for the flight, hotels, gift, and Uber. I'll give you the actual numbers of what happened with that. For fun, I wanted to do a concert in Q1. Cardi B was coming in town. There's a hack. If they don't sell out, you can find tickets for super cheap. That didn't end up happening. I did not go to that concert. I did register for a pickleball league, which I wanted to do in Q1. Unfortunately, I ended up getting refunded. I don't know. They just said we're going to have to cancel the league. So that was kind of weird. For fun, I also wanted to find free groups. I have a bike group. I have not officially done a run group yet. I have been a regular with a new hike group, been wanting to do more sports stuff. That was a fail. I did have a plan to do content creator and podcast meetups, which I just made that happen. For my tech and electronics, I do want to upgrade a camera. I have gotten the lighting. I think I'm going to wait until I get the camera whenever I am officially monetized on YouTube. So keep watching this video. I need 4,000 watch hours and then 1,000 subscribers. So I wanted to get that by Q1. I have not reached that. I'm about 1,700 watch hours. So almost halfway there, and then 720 subscribers. So make sure and hit that subscribe button. This is my fun self-care routine. I do get haircuts for the cheap $27 cuts where they spray it with a bottle and get that cut. I did want to do 4 massages. So far, I did my 1 massage for Valentine's Day. And then I do have my wardrobe updates. I actually get clothes on the cheap. I am going to allocate for this spring. I do want to get a $150 clothes update. So far, I have purchased some of these things. I did end up getting some new rings from Old Navy. This is a closer look at Q1, what I wanted to do, which was therapy. I found a health insurance plan with a 0 copay, so I did do therapy, but I have stopped because I'm just taking a pause. I did find an eye doctor, and then I did book the dermatologist appointment, and then I did get some supplements. Toll tag, have not done that. Oil change, I have not done that. I did lose my license plate. I finally figured out and got that replaced. I did want to get new sheets and a comforter. I got new sheets, but not the comforter. And then I have not gotten the plates and coffee mugs. I did have a lot of fun birthdays. A lot of them were out of town, so I just did like phone dates and called them. For Valentine's Day, I did allocate my extra $100 for my massage. I did book my flight to Wisconsin. It was actually a lot less than I thought, even though flight prices are up. I did set the date for a Pittsburgh trip. I have not done sports meetups. I did find the pickleball league, but I got refunded and I did not make it to my concert. Here is what I want to do for Q2. I have an OBGYN follow-up. Crazy thing from Q1 that I was not expecting is I had endometriosis flare-up where I had extreme pain. I could not walk for like a day. It was horrible. Had a 0 copay, but I am going back to following up. I might get some extra imaging done, so I'm not sure if that's going to cost more. I do also have a dermatologist follow-up. I'm guessing that's going to be about $56. an eye doctor follow-up. So I did 3 appointments, I did steroid treatments, and basically I found once I'm on steroids, my watery eyes go away. Once I'm off, watery eyes come back. Rollover, I did not end up getting the oil change for my car, so I'm going to do an oil change and inspection. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do a brake pad and rotor. I do need to get a toll tag. I need to do my car registration, that's due. And for my apartment maintenance, I am just going to put in requests for an air filter. Something's wrong with the oven and the dishwasher. For my projects, I still want to do a plate and bowl set. I'm going to do used, I think, and use my weekly cash. I take out a set amount of cash for my operating expenses. I'll explain more in a minute. I ended up getting the vacuum for free for my parents. I still need to get a comforter. I'm estimating about $45. And then the projects that I'm focusing on, I am going to I need to track. I'm going to try to add the habit of an e-file organization, doing 10 hours to track each week, and then set up my home desk. There has been a change. I do co-working and I freaking love being out and about with people, but my co-working space ended up charging more than twice the amount, so I canceled my membership. So I definitely really want to get a home office set up for sure now. And then for celebrations for Q2 was the adult Easter egg hunt, and I do want to get a wreath. I allocated $75 for that. There's Mother's Day and Father's Day. I'm allocating an extra $100 for that. My friend's wedding gift. And then I have some birthdays. And then I do want to host this quarter a Cinco de Mayo party. So I'm allocating $50 extra for that. For my travel, I'm doing a wedding in Milwaukee. Decided that I am going to do a day before in Chicago to have a little extra fun. So I still need to book the train from Chicago to Milwaukee, and then also the hotel. I'm estimating that'll be about $300. Then I'm estimating about $75 for Ubers while I'm there. I do need to book the Pittsburgh flight, and then I want to plan my South America trip and book the flight. I want to find a pickleball lead, float the river, and then do 150 summer wardrobe update. Okay, that process was almost like a massive brain dump of what you want to happen in your life for the next 3 months, almost like your own personal adult registry. You are crystal clear on what you want to happen, and now as CFO, you're going to hop into the monthly budgets. I want you to literally become chief financial officer and manage your money like a boss. I use financial statements. I freaking love financial statements. They're what the Fortune 500 billion dollar companies use, and you can use as well. We'll be looking at your income statement, which is also known as a P&L or profit and loss. It shows your income and your expenses in the month, and we want to make sure it is a profitable budget where you can spend on those things that you want guilt-free. And we will also look at the statement of cash flow, which shows the inflows and outflows of what actually happened from Q1, and then we will adjust and modify for Q2 our income statements of things that have changed and kind of shift. And saving the best for last, one of the biggest, most important things is during your quarterly review, you will want to update your net worth. And your balance sheet is that snapshot of exactly where you stand right now. It shows your assets and your liabilities. It was a little bit of a whirlwind, so ending Q1, my net worth actually dropped. I'll share exactly how much it dropped, how I reacted, and then what I'm going to do differently going forward. I did explain in episode 1 that I am semi-retired. What that means is that I have assets that can generate an income to cover most of my expenses. And I also did in episode number 5 exactly how much I spent last year. There is an art and a science to being good with money and also enjoying life now. So in 2025, you are not going to believe how much I did and how little I spent. I went on an Australia-New Zealand trip. I ended up selling my RV and buying an apartment. So I fully furnished my apartment and still only spent right around $31,000. It actually only cost me about $2,500 to live. This year, though, my goal is to go from semi-retired to fully retired. So I actually want to crank up my investments and reach millionaire status. I can live primarily off of my base budget, which is about $2,500 monthly expenses, but I do want to be fully retired. So I am pushing this year to crank up my investments up to $2,500 a month. And so that is going to be a big shift. Looking at this quarter and going forward, am I going to be able to do it? I don't know. But every month I'm going to try and see. I do have the goal to earn and take home $5,000 to become fully retired. So we'll see how that goes. I have a full video on exactly how to create a budget from scratch. You can check that out. But as a quick recap, we have your income statement, and there are just simply three parts to every budget: your income, fixed expenses, and flex expenses. So the income statement shows if you have a profitable budget as well. So this is what we think is going to happen. So we will look at what I thought was going to happen for Q1 and then what I want to happen for Q2. As a recap, the fixed expenses, we have savings, charity, housing, insurances, services, debt. For flex expenses, a lot of times people call these necessities. I call them, as CFO, operating expenses, and I personally take out a set amount of cash to make it last for the week. I use cash for my groceries, put gas in my car, and my day-to-day spending going out to eat for food or drinks. And then I do want to have a profitable budget. I want to have at least $500 that I can allocate each month for those expenses we just talked about in the categories: medical, maintenance, project, celebration, travel, and fun. My semi-retired budget is to live off of $2,500. To be fully retired, what I'm working up to this year is to have a take home of $5,000. How this financial day planner works is once you enter in your income and fixed expenses, it automatically forecasts out for the upcoming year. So you do a little bit of work upfront and then it's forecasted out. As CFO, then all you got to do is put a dollar sign to your to-do list. And for the particular month that those extras will incur, you add that to the budget. I call those life reinvestments. It's, as CFO, where you're choosing to guilt-free reinvest and spend money on because you have that profitable budget. Let's take a quick look of what I thought I was going to spend in Q1 versus what I actually did, and then how I'm going to be adjusting the numbers for Q2. For my January budget, I had my regular fixed expenses. So my rent, water, electricity, gas, and trash. My insurance is renter's car and health insurance. My services, internet, and ClassPass or a gym. And then I am debt-free. My operating expenses, I take 120 cash out for my groceries, gas in my car, food and drinks out, and other miscellaneous. I allocated $85 for copay for an eye doctor and then $125 for hypoallergenic sheets because I am allergic to dust mites. And then I wanted to find sports meetup groups for free. So the income statement is what I thought was going to happen. And then I use the statement of cash flow. It shows the inflows and outflows as what actually happened and where I track my spending. And everything pretty much went as according to plan. There were a couple of differences. So for example, I ended up having, this is my annual budget summary. This is what I think is going to happen for the month. This is what actually happened for the month. And this is the annual, so it forecasts everything out for the year. And then this is the YTD or year to date actual. The biggest differences were here: insurance. I had this random double charge. For some reason, the way that this lied with the policy change, I got, I guess, 2 health insurance premium came through in this 1 month. And then the cool thing about having a plan with your money as CFO is you could go online and spend $500 on hypoallergenic sheets. But because I gave myself a dollar amount, I really searched and found something within that range. So I did think I was going to spend 125. I spent 125.52. I thought I was going to spend $85 on the eye doctor. I didn't really know, but I actually spent 90. So everything was pretty much in line for January. February, I have my regular budget again. The fixed expenses are forecasted here. The extras that I wanted in February was the eye doctor again, the dermatologist appointment, and I wanted to upgrade my kitchen gadgets and plates and then do a Valentine's Day massage and get some chocolate and stuff. I ended up adding on something with my February budget. Instead of a sports group, I ended up joining Time Left, which is you get to have dinner with 5 or 6 strangers. So that's what I thought was going to happen. A few things that ended up changing was I ended up changing my gym. There was an annual fee, but it'll be a little bit lower for the months going forward. The eye doctor, I ended up going to Walmart and they actually did not charge additional copays for follow-ups, which was kind of nice. Statement of cash flow shows the actual spending. Everything was pretty much on board. I know everyone's like, life is so expensive. All in all, in February, I ended up spending about $2,400. Let's see what happened in March. In March, the extras that I wanted to do, again, I wanted to do the eye doctor. But again, Walmart hooked it up with the eye care. They had no additional copay for follow-ups. And then I also wanted to do a toll tag, get my oil changed. I did not end up doing that. So that's something I'm going to, in this quarterly review, roll over to do for Q2. I do have a wedding to Wisconsin. I thought I was going to spend $320, but I ended up finding a great deal on that. I will show you what I spent in just a second. I also wanted to do pickleball. I estimated that'd be 60. Also wanted to do a Cardi B concert. I thought somehow I'd get like a deal on a last minute ticket for about $75. The statement of cash flow shows then what actually happened. Few things had changed. I did not end up going to the Cardi B. The tickets pretty much sold out. So the prices actually skyrocketed instead of dropped. Instead, I did a Renaissance fair and got tickets for that. So that was $33.48. I did end up having the annual fee, ended up for my gym being in March versus I thought it'd be in February. The flights, I ended up instead of 320, I ended up finding a deal for 127. I'm doing like there's no carry-on included. It's like a very baseline flight. I'm just going to take a backpack. And I decided for the trip, it's in Milwaukee for a wedding. I'm going to do a day before in Chicago just to have a little fun. And also, whenever I was looking at prices, it was just way cheaper to go to Chicago. I'll have a fun day beforehand and then take a train to Milwaukee. A couple things that came up. I did a little donation for my niece and nephew. And I ended up getting refunded because the pickleball team was like, we're canceled. So I was like, okay, year to date, ending of March, I spent $7,324 for 3 months. So if you want to be de-influenced and get hacks on how to live large while living with your means, make sure and subscribe. Now, for the quarter coming up, I have here my budget. In April, I anticipated wanting to vamp up my investments. I might do, let me know if you want a video on this of how lately I've been semi-retired and then also coast fi, which means my investments have just been growing and I haven't actually the last year been contributing to my retirement, which is kind of weird, but I want to pick that up and I want to be a millionaire within 5 years. So to do that, I need to invest about $2,500 for April. I don't think that's going to happen. So I am going to instead do a paycheck of about $3,000 and then hopefully just try again for May and June. My extras for April will be, I had anticipated doing an eye doctor follow-up, which it has been 90 days. So I'm going to have to do another eye doctor follow-up. So I will be paying for that. I have a dermatologist follow-up. I'm assuming it's going to be $56. I was planning on doing brake pads and rotor in April, but I'm kind of behind on my maintenance. So I think I'm actually going to move this to do in May. And then in April, I still need to do my oil change. I'll do my toll tag and oil change. Also, I think I'm going to do a synthetic oil change. So I think I'm going to budget a little bit more. It'll last like 10,000 miles. So I'm going to remove that from March and then we'll have it over for April. The extras are an adult Easter egg hunt. I have eggs with liquor and like cash prizes and extra candy, my aunt's birthday, and then a wedding gift. I am also going to get a flight for Pittsburgh. I was anticipating doing it in April, but I'm actually going to change that around. So I'm going to actually get that in May. And I also was initially going to spend $250 for the hotel for Wisconsin in May because that's technically what it is. But I have a feeling I might have to pay before. I still need to book it before I go. So I'm going to switch that around. So we're going to do hotels for the Chicago now plus Milwaukee trip. I said 250. We'll see how that goes. I am changing things around also because I need to get a train because I'm doing a fun side trip. So I think it's going to be about 42 for that. I do think I'll be spending about $75 for Uber. That will be in May. I'm going to do the Pittsburgh flight. I don't know exactly. I'll say the max would be hopefully 350. In May for my extras, I want to float the river, find another pickleball league. I am going to allocate 50 extra dollars for Cinco de Mayo party. I'm also allocating 50 extra dollars for Mother's Day. And then, like I said, I'm going to move that brake pad and rotors to May. In June for my extras, I am going to get my car registration. And I think I had here update kitchen gadgets. I think I'm going to use weekly cash for that. It's my mom's birthday, Father's Day. So I'm allocating $40 for mom's birthday, $50 for Father's Day, $45 for extra gas money to go home. And then I want to do a summer wardrobe update for the 150. A lot of girls get one dress for 150, but that ain't me. I'm going to get multiple dresses and shirts and things. I'm going to shop clearance and get a bunch of stuff on sale, but it's about time I need to spruce things up a little bit. Final thing I like to do with the quarterly review is update my net worth. So the balance sheet shows your assets and your liabilities. It's a snapshot or picture of exactly where you stand at any given point in time. Starting the year, I had a net worth of $556,000, and I ended up having a dip in my net worth because the stock market did go down. I like to avoid checking the stock market on the regular in my account balances because it does go up and down. Historically, though, in the long run, the stock market earns about 10%. And so I do park my money there. That went down. So my net worth on March 31st was about $544,000. Not too crazy. I did absolutely nothing. I didn't panic sell. I didn't change the plan. I just kind of let things ride. The crazy thing is a few days into Q2, I ended up reaching a record-breaking high in terms of my net worth. So I'm a buy and hold girl. Index and chill. Keep your money long term in the stock market. First, like week of April. So I think it was about the 7th or 8th of April, my net worth climbed up to $565,000 because everything kind of bounced back and had a little bit of a bump. All right, that is the process of having a Financial Plus Life quarterly review where you budget and plan your upcoming 3 months. That is the exact opposite of late night scrolling on Amazon and kind of scrambling around. You, as CFO, have a plan and you have a profitable budget where you can spend guilt-free on what you want in your life. And I will be honest, it's a little bit scary checking in on that net worth, especially when the market is up and down and crazy. I definitely felt a little bit emotional. Now, life does not always go as planned, and that's exactly why these quarterly reviews are so important to check in and reroute and adjust and modify. I am here to hype you up. Now it's time for a best money class ever money win. And this one is a good one. It is from someone who got off course a little bit, but was able to reroute and regroup with this system. If this year hasn't quite panned out like you thought it would, this is a good one. She writes, I've been doing really well getting out of debt. I think your class really gave me a great framework to take charge of finances. Of course, some complicating factors popped up along the way, like breaking up with my boyfriend who had accumulated a lot of our shared debt and still refuses to pay his part. But I'm getting there. She says the breakup was the right decision, but the financial fallout was overwhelming. That is behind me now. She has just a little bit of her student loan debt remaining. She did recently have to buy a car, but was able to save and put almost 50% down. She is also almost to her goal of an upgraded emergency fund. She said, I have found your spreadsheet super helpful and have been consistently using it a few times a month. Thank you so much, my yellow groupers, for listening. Every show has a dope name they call their listeners. I'm calling you my yellow groupers. We have slow starts, we get behind, we get knocked down, but we don't ever give up. That is where our grit is born. Our adversities is what makes us stronger. I hope you have your best year yet and get refocused and reset when you do a quarterly review. You can plan your next 3 months. Again, if you want the exact spreadsheet that I use, you can use my financial day planner, which is linked in the description below. If you've been meaning to get your finances in order, now's the time, and this is the best place to start. Here, you'll overcome analysis paralysis with the finance plan. This is the roadmap that you've been looking for to pay off debt and invest, even if you have no idea where to start and you're living paycheck to paycheck. I am really curious and would love to hear from you. Do you plan your quarter out in advance? Spill your financial tea. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify. Did you like this episode? Make sure to like it and subscribe and share it with your friends who geek out over personal finance. Leave me a 5-star review wherever you're listening. It really helps others who are on a mission to pay off debt and invest find this show. Are you tired of figuring this money stuff out on your own? Let me tell you, you don't need to spend a lifetime stressed about money. You can turn things around in a month. And I will show you exactly how. Best money class ever is my live and virtual 4-week personal finance class. Think of me as your personal finance consultant to help you get the results that you want with money. Class is currently closed, but if you want in, you can get on the wait list and you'll instantly get a free 20-page downloadable guide with the finance plan where you can start a plan to pay off debt and invest right now. As always, remember, you only live once. Be smart with your money. Now, I will catch you later. Bye.